Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie, the podcast where we delve into the heart of what truly matters, our families. Healthy families make healthy societies. I'm Randy.
And I'm Leslie. We're diving deep into the powerful insights of Dr. Randy's groundbreaking book, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out.
Hear inspiring stories and strategies to transform your family. We'll explore topics like communication, forgiveness, healing, parenting, marriage. We'll cover it all.
We'll have provoking conversations with experts, coaches, and real-life families who are benefiting from intentional family building.
This podcast isn't just about theories, it's about tools that you can implement today.
We all come from families, so this podcast is for you.
Join us on this incredible family journey. Subscribe now as we learn to do family as God designed.
Transforming families, one episode at a time. Remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie.
I'm Randy.
I'm Leslie.
Hey, well, we are excited today to have one of our Family Reformation Project family coaches, FRP Family Coach. Rachel Johnson's with us. And, we have so many good things to say about this powerful woman. She, not only is she a mother and a powerful teacher as a homeschooler, but we've known her for just over 4 years, and we met her and her family, and they were our beta family as we were finishing the book and the exercises. We were looking for a family, and they were looking at the same time to do something special for their family, and we met them, and we just fell in love with them right away. And we have a value here at the FRP that we have to live it to give it. It's not just about information and books and all. It's about, are we being transformed, and are our families being transformed into the image and the design of God? And Rachel and her family, they are like poster children for living it to give it. They put this stuff into practice. We have some of the most amazing stories and testimonies. Maybe we'll get to hear a few today, but Leslie's going to give her a proper introduction. I'm just excited to have her with us today.
Yeah, we just love Rachel. She is firstly just a precious daughter of our King. I like to, she's near and dear to my heart. She's a bonus daughter for me. But Rachel's also, she is wife to Levi. She's a homeschooling mom of 3. She lives in Michigan, and she served alongside her husband, Levi, in youth ministry for the past 15 years. She also loves serving through worship and playing the piano. She came from a very large 8 siblings, tight-knit family, and she has a passion to walk alongside other families and individuals as they seek out to live God's mission and design to build legacy for future generations. She has gone through all of the FRP coach training. She is a certified family coach. Rachel equips and empowers people to lead their families, restore and build relationships, live their legacies, and shape culture in the process. And we are just delighted to have her here. Welcome, Rachel.
Welcome.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. And we always start here. So tell us a little bit about your family.
Okay, so as you guys mentioned a little bit in the intro, I'm married to my husband, Levi. We've been married for just over 12 years. We have 3 children. Reagan and Riley are 10, and our son, Ted, is 8. And we live in Michigan. We live at the very top of the Lower Peninsula, so way up north, but we love it. We love all the Great Lakes up here. My husband is the manager of a local family-owned lumber yard, and I lead in our homeschool co-op and also serve in worship at church, as you mentioned. And together, we both work in youth ministry too, as well, working with teenagers.
So good. And I love their son, Ted, right? I've met him in person for the first time. We met him in May. And within the first 2 or 3 minutes, he was razzing me about my football team. I really like this young man. He's a quality young man. Well, good. Well, tell us about how you put this FRP learning into practice in your own family, and what are some of the results that you're seeing as you've been living it to give it?
So there's so many stories that come to mind, but one of the first ones that does is when I very first started taking the family school. Actually, one of my kids, not very long later, said to me, "Hey, Mom, ever since you've been doing your courses," they would, love that I was taking classes. They thought that was so cool. So ever since you've been doing your courses, they said, our home just feels really safe and healthy. And I just feel like life feels real. And I was a little taken aback, coming from a child that was just kind of seemed real deep to me. And so I, posed another question. I said, "Okay, tell me what you mean by real. What does life feel real?"
Good question.
Yes. And they just said, "Well, it just feels like I know what my feelings are and I know how to talk about them. And in particular, when I say I'm sorry, it's not just a word anymore, it's actually a feeling." And that was just something that blew me away completely at
Yeah.
the depth and just that impact right away as we were initially, really learning about all of this. It was quite
Yeah.
special.
A lot of people wonder, well, when we started this, our kids were adults, but they wonder, well, will this really work with children? And again, your children are right in that, 8, 9, 10. You answer that question for us. Will it work with young children?
Absolutely. I have so many more stories if we have time to get into it of just so many different ways
Yeah,
of.
give us a couple more. I think this is important.
So we had an outing with a person in our lives that just really holds a dear place in our kids' lives and in our lives too. And it was one of those moments, as an adult, you kind of think kids might not think as deeply about. And I thought, oh, I don't know if my kids are really this is gonna matter to them too much. And afterwards, I just decided we should really debrief this. And we used the fact story tool. And I just sat down with them, super casual setting, just like, "Hey, let's talk through what we just experienced the last few hours." And I just went through a couple simple questions with them, and I was just blown away again at the depth of feeling that they had in that moment, and just really was excited that we had the opportunity to shape an event that could have had a negative impact. But kind of hearing their stories, and we were able to just break down, hey, what were the facts of what happened? And what are some stories that you could be making this up to mean? And we just really were able to sort that and compare it to, hey, what's the truth? What does God's truth say about this? And what are the facts that we're going to choose to believe from this? And it just really hit me in that moment of, there's so many situations I think may be irrelevant or maybe insignificant as an adult. And really, as a child, that will stick with them for a long time and could have had a negative impact.
Right. And what a wonderful process to teach a child how to make sense out of what happens in their world. I have the deep pleasure and honor of I'm getting to coach some grandchildren now. And I too, I'm just delighted. As Randy mentioned, we did this work when our kids were already grown, and the purity and their ability to comprehend and understand. And we're going to be breaking down the fact story in another podcast, but essentially it is a process to teach your kids how to make sense out of the things that happen in life. And when our kids are little, they're especially vulnerable to without parents that know how to ask these very simple questions and help them articulate a story. So when the enemy comes in and he can do his best work, even around small things like, my hamster died. Like, seriously, there's the ramifications are long. So we love that your kids, I want you to talk a little bit, if you would, Rachel, what you put together to help your kids identify and, to be able to articulate their feelings.
Yeah, so together with my kids, and I'll be honest, the idea initially wasn't mine. We just spearheaded it and made it come to life. My sister had the idea and proposed it to my kids, and they were so excited about it.
Gotta give credit.
Yes, yes. So they're emoji cards, and we use them with feeling words. And for them, a list of like these big old words can sometimes be overwhelming just staring at letters on a page. And emojis, they really resonated with. And so they actually first did it by hand and like drew out all this artwork. And then they went through and picked all the emojis that they felt would match each word.
Beautiful.
So we created this little flip, like a flip ring of emoji cards. And each of them has a whole list of words on the back. So they can look at the emoji, look at that face and see what they might resonate with, and then maybe look for some deeper words on the back. And that tool has been used so many times in our house when we're, in a tough moment, emotions might be high. And it's like, hey, grab the feeling words, let's find some vocabulary for what you're going through right now. And man, it works so fast. It's great.
I love that so much.
And, you know, we find in working with adults in our coaching practice that many adults do not know how to identify other than very, very basic emotion: happy, sad, good, bad,
Angry.
fine, angry. Like, to really, and we all know in the work that we do, the EQ protocol is the first of 6 protocols in the book. And it's really learning how to separate the different parts of us, right? Our spirit from our mind, will, emotion, and how to walk in the spirit. And so to have our children be able to identify the distinctive emotions they're feeling, then empowers them to look at the thinking underneath and to be responsible to make choices about how they see and what they think, and therefore how they feel about it moving forward. So powerful. And I love that you said you did this with them, right?
Yeah.
That's the value of the work, doing it with them. So now they're trained, and you know, they're able to make examples with their friends and other families and so forth. So good.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, tell us how you decided, Rachel, to become a family coach. What was the catalyst or that process for you of wanting to do that?
Yeah, so a little bit throwback to you guys talking at the beginning about how we met you guys. So it's really started with my dad and my mom. My mom was going through her own cancer journey at the time and really began diving into pursuing healing, pursuing growth, and all of those kind of things. And she was super courageous in her battle in her final months. And she shared with all of us her passion for family, her love for family, and the importance of family. And we continued that on after she graduated to heaven.
Yeah.
And my dad contacted you guys and had, we did that family legacy encounter weekend. And that's where we were introduced to everything. But really, it was that passion from my mom and from my dad really spearheading all of that, that when we learned about these tools, it just made so much sense. It was so easy to apply. And so when the family school opened up, it was an easy yes, because for me, I knew I wanted to learn even more of how to apply them within my own family. So we had learned it in a setting with my siblings, and my kids were present for some of it. But really at that time, we were more focusing on, my extended family. And so it was an opportunity with family school to really just hone in and dive deeper into these at a new level, just with my husband and my kids. And we have so enjoyed doing those. And we had experienced so much change within my siblings and our family relationship through those couple of years that it really, just gave me this desire to let other families experience that and learn how to show them how to do it too. I didn't want to keep that, to ourselves.
Yeah, so good. In a moment, we're going to take a quick break and let people know how they can get these materials. You're talking about the family school and really the curriculum, the book, the workbook, and the e-course that are the exercises to go through. They'll be able to get that. But when we come back, Rachel, I want you to talk about some of the challenges that you see with the families that you're working with, the families in your sphere and your network. What are some of the challenges that are really just at the top? And then we're going to talk about how coaching and what you're doing can really help them. So right after this, we'll be back with that. Introducing the Family Digital Bundle, a powerful collection designed to transform your family's journey towards healing, growth, and thriving.
At the heart of this bundle is the best-selling book and workbook, The Family Legacy: Shaping Culture from the Inside Out, written by Dr. Randall Bixby.
With insightful wisdom and practical advice, these resources offer a roadmap for building a strong family legacy that shapes the culture of generations to come.
But that's not all. Our Family Digital Bundle includes an e-course, over 9 hours of how-to videos, equipping you with practical tools and expert guidance to help your family.
Imagine your family, a place where love, growth, and connection come together. Isn't it time to build a better family? If not now, when?
Invest in your family. Order the Family Digital Bundle today by clicking the link below or visit our website, thefamilyreformationproject.com.
And we're back. So, Rachel, I said before the break, give us some examples of what are the issues the families that you're connected with are experiencing right now.
Yeah, I would say probably one of the biggest ones that my husband and I have talked about many times would be, I don't know what better term to put this, but the lack of hands-on parenting. We really feel that we've experienced and seen a lot of parenting just kind of passed off to schools, to churches, youth groups, sports, clubs, those different kind of things. And while they all are can be really beneficial and our kids are involved in those different kind of things as well, that I feel like it's allowed parents to just kind of, take a hands-off approach and just be like, my parenting's covered, almost as if those things are raising their kids for them or helping. And I just, that's not really God's model. I feel like he's given us the responsibility to do that and maybe use those things as an assist, but not, neglect our parenting in the process.
Yeah, we experienced this firsthand. Our generation, we really were guilty of abdicating the spiritual formation of our kids to our local churches. Well, if I have them in Sunday school and they're in youth group midweek service, and they're learning all this stuff in school, and what's happened is a whole generation of kids that have grown up, gone off to college, and they've walked away from their faith, and that sits solely smack dab in the laps of parenting. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah, and those are broad strokes, and there's
Yeah.
parents in every generation that do
Sure.
intentionally, but I think they're few. Our experience anyway has been that the kind of hands-on, as you said, time, energy, priority over a lot of those other things that frankly could be called distractions.
Right.
During those few years that we have them in there. The truth is, our children are going to be shaped by somebody and something.
Yeah.
Whether it's our schools and you're a homeschool parent, I think I just commend you for doing that. That what a price and an investment that is. So kudos to you for that. But whether that's the church or whether that's media, whether that's the cell phone, they will be discipled.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you're saying about you being that. What else do you see in families that the issues they're facing?
I think it kind of goes hand in hand with the hands-on parenting and the busyness that comes, like you guys said, the distractions, but it would be the lack of intentional time together. There are so many distractions. There are so many good things to do that take away from family time. And there can't be a lot of unity when we're not actually hardly spending time together within a family unit. And that just seems to be a real challenge with so many options of things to do right now.
Yeah. And our one of our primary jobs as believing parents is to pass on the character and nature of God into our kids. So when they do launch and they do leave home, they're equipped to know how to do the same thing with their own families. They're the people, they are the future culture shapers. And we have a real responsibility to equip them and teach them how to do that. One of the tools, I think we have time that we teach in the family school and how we equip our coaches is called a social covenant, a family social covenant. And I know you have a really darling, powerful story about that. So tell us a little bit about that.
First, what is a social covenant, and then what happened at your house?
Yes. So social covenant has been so key in our family. It's an agreement between the members of the family, parent to children, children to parents, and between each other, that we get to all sit down. We all have a voice in. We all get to share about that, share what we want, and then we reach an agreement. So not everything makes it on the end of the covenant, but we all get to at least share what we would like from the others in the family unit. And then we agree upon that. We agree upon a resolution. And for us, it gets posted on our fridge. That's where the kids can most easily.
And excuse me, but one of the key pieces, right, is you also have on there as the fourth item, how do we get back into agreement if we've broken an agreement, which is really important. But go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So for us, it was just recently we had a sibling squabble, you would call it. And my husband sits down on the floor with the kids and he says, okay, what's next? Which is a very common question in our household. He says, what's next? And one of my daughters said, hey, can I be excused for a minute? I'd like to go look at something. And we were kind of confused as to how that was going to help anything. But she ran to the fridge and we realized she was actually looking at the social covenant. And when she came back, she took a minute. When she came back, she said, hey, guys, this may not exactly be a broken covenant agreement. What we're squabbling over may not exactly be on our covenant, but it is a broken relationship. And so, hey, let's use what we have agreed upon to get back into agreement with each other. And it was just beautiful to watch her take leadership at that young age. And my husband and I literally just looked at each other and like completely speechless of, did that really just happen? I was so, yes, it's working. Amazing. It was just beautiful to see the fruit, because not every moment is that beautiful and amazing, but it was just wonderful to see the personal responsibility that she took upon herself and the leadership. And we've seen so much of that with working with these tools, is just equipping them with the framework for the rest of life. We're not just giving them a little, solution, a quick answer. My husband and I mention this frequently. We're like, this kind of parenting takes a lot more time and takes a lot more effort, but we are now reaping the results of it. And it's so beautiful to watch that we're not just giving them a quick answer to a simple like situation in the moment. We're actually allowing them to explore and reason and find solutions that actually equip them for the rest of their lives, and yeah, it does take more time, but 100% worth the effort.
So good.
Very, very good. And the purpose, right, of the social covenant is to have a clear set of agreements so that there can be certainty.
Yes.
There's something very insecure and unstable when the rules are always changing, or what we've been promised doesn't happen, or where we don't know what to count on, and that social covenant's one way to just help communicate and stick to creating this environment, this culture that's healthy, where we can trust. And that's so important. And it's safe. One thing certainty does for us is it gives safety. I know what to count on. I know the boundaries. I know what's coming up or what's going to happen if I do this. And that creates, this safe, trusting, loving, supportive environment, which is really the key. If we want our families to be healthy, they're not going to be if that's not the environment we have. Who wants to be around arguing all the time, blaming all the time, calling one another wrong all the time, things changing all the time and not knowing? I mean, that's very disruptive. So kudos to you for the hard work. It's paying off.
Yeah.
So Rachel, how do you work as a coach? How do you work with other families? How's a way that they get in touch with you? What is your process working with a family?
So I can best be reached by email, which is racheljfrp@gmail.com. And I do a free 30-minute Zoom session to really figure out what your needs are and what avenue might best suit you. And that's the best way to get started, whether it's individuals, whether it's families, any age, doesn't really matter. Obviously, right now, my life stage is younger kids. And so that's what I am in the throes of. But we love working with all ages. My husband and I worked with teens and young adults, especially in the age group of, transitioning through some adult parent or adult child parent relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
That we have worked through, each of us have worked through some of that stuff. And we know that can be a pretty tricky stage in itself. But we both have very strong relationships, still with our parents. And that's super important to maintain that, the older we get. So that's what we like to focus on.
What is different? What if I'm a family and I've got some marital issues, or I've got teenagers and I'm just really struggling? What's the difference between working with a certified family coach like you versus going and paying for a therapist?
Yeah, so therapy, super helpful, but coaching differs from that in the fact that we create a solution for your family, but we help you create that solution. Not here to give advice, not here to, give you all the answers to life, but really help you reason and come to what works best for your family, with God speaking to that and his plan for you.
Yeah, it really is critical. Not to slam therapy. Therapy is useful in healing, right? Especially like mental or emotional healing. And it's focused on the past primarily, maybe some of the present, where coaching is present, future focus for the most part.
Sure, it is what it is. Now, how do we get to a healthy family from here?
What's next?
Yeah, and there's something that happens in coaching that in my experience, doesn't always happen in therapy, which is the coach, like you say to this family, here's what you've learned, here's what you're facing, here's some solutions. What's your commitment? Like, you force them to take responsibility for what they're going to do, which is far different than this is what you should do. I mean, I don't know what you or your kids, they're exemplary, I know. But I mean, have you ever told your kids to do something and they didn't do it?
All the time.
Yeah, never. Oh yeah. Yeah. Have anybody ever told me what to do and I don't do it? Of course. So it's different when the individual processes everything. What's God saying? What's the truth? What have I tried that isn't working? And they come up to a decision. I'm choosing to do this to solve it. And when they make that choice, the line is, people don't argue with their own data.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it takes wisdom in drawing out. And that's what you have, Rachel, as a certified family coach, and with your life experience, and you're able to ask the right questions that draw out and really address the real problems and the real solutions, and then help them choose.
Yeah. Wonderful.
It's powerful. Well, any last words that you have for us today? If you're thinking about people in your network, in your church, in your area, anything that you'd call them to action with today?
I would just say I would encourage people to jump in. While all of this may seem overwhelming, that even just taking a baby step and trying one thing, you might be amazed at the results of just taking one little step, trying one little aspect. We did not do all of this overnight. As they mentioned at the beginning, it's been over 4 years that we've known Randy and Leslie and been working with them that entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this and some of these stories, you might think, that's amazing. That did not happen overnight, but it's been hard work over the last several years. And some of it happened right away in those initial baby steps, though. And so I would just encourage people to just try one thing, try one tool, and see what happens, see what God can do with it.
So good. I have to say this. I so appreciate the effort that you're giving to your family, because I see we all give effort to something. Mm-hmm. Many people, it's the job, and that's understandable to a point. If I have a career, I'm getting continuing education on a regular basis. As a coach, we have regular and there's so many things that we take time, we spend money, whether it's, $300 or $400 to go to a game, or if it's whatever it is, or family. And the fact that so few people really statistically do that for their families, it should be a wake-up call to us. And I hope that people will get that wake-up call. I know that if they reach out to you, they're going to be well taken care of. And thank you so much for being with us today on the podcast. Rachel Johnson, one of our Family Reformation Project family coaches. Reach out to her, and remember this: whoever wins the family
wins the culture in the end.
See you next time. That wraps up another inspiring episode of Transforming Families with Randy and Leslie. We hope that today's conversation has left you feeling empowered and equipped to take action.
Remember, transforming families begins with transforming ourselves. Let's be intentional, loving, and persevere. You're not alone. We're right here with you.
We believe Proverbs 24:3, wise people are builders. They build families, businesses, and communities. Through intelligence and insight, their enterprises are established and endure.
Thanks for joining us today. We encourage you to stay connected with us on social media, join our email list, and learn more about our resources and classes at the Family School by visiting thefamilyreformationproject.com.
Remember to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and spread the word about transforming families. We'll see you on our next episode. And remember, whoever wins the family wins the culture in the end.